Hi guys, and welcome to this week's bot clinic. I am joined again by my partner Imran. I'm obviously Simon Wood still, and this week we're going to have a look at all of the bots that you guys have been sending. We've picked a couple to look at, and we've chosen our winner. So first of all, I want to thank everybody who has sent a bot in. It's really good to see all the work that you guys have been doing, how you're implementing bots, and obviously to hear a little bit about some of you have been telling me how they've been performing, what kind of results you've been getting. So I mean, it's really good to see all of that info. One thing just on that, if we do ask for bots to be sent in the future, which we no doubt will do, it'd be good if we could get them in the day before the call, because what tends to happen is we start reviewing them 24 hours or more before the call. What we can't do is review them minutes or just a few hours before the call, because by then we've chosen our winner. So yeah, just a little bit more time to get them in would be ideal. So this week, like we've mentioned, we're going to go through some bots, and we're also going to talk a little bit about some sales tactics, if you like, or sales processes that you guys can go through. We're going to go into more detail on training videos coming forth, but we want to start talking about it now. So that's going to be coming up further down the line. Now, as I mentioned, we have gone through all of the bots that are sent through to us today. Myself and Imran were having a look at them earlier on today, and actually we decided that while we were doing that, we would record a pre-recorded video of us just going through them, because we were doing it at that time. It was a bit spontaneous, but we were there at that moment in time. So I'm actually going to play that video very shortly, so you can see us going through bots. Now, what I would like you to do is, as we're going through the video, if you've got any questions, please do send them in. We are going to be actively replying to those questions as they come in, and we're also going to pick some out to go through after we've played this short video. Okay, so do keep them coming in, and obviously you can send questions in relating to anything. It doesn't have to be about the bots we're going to cover. After we've gone through the bots, we're going to cover questions about anything to do with bots or our platform, or anything that you want to ask. So please do feel free to send those in. So I'm going to go ahead now, guys, and play the video for you of myself and Imran earlier on today going through the bots that you've kindly sent in. Just have to wait for it to load, guys. Bear with me just 1 second. It will be coming up very shortly. Right, here we go. It's coming. Okay, guys, so we're going to move on now and have a look at the top 2 bots that we've chosen for this week. And the bot that we can see on screen was a close runner-up. And as normal, we're just going to go through a few steps of this bot and talk about some of the good points, and maybe all some of the some of the sort of points that could perhaps be improved on. So first of all, we can see that we've got a nice short opening block. There's some good things to point out here. So first of all, the messages are all short, concise, and easy to read. We've got a little welcome, and we're explaining what it is we do. We're following that up with a logo, which is nice and breaks the content up. This message here is good because we're doing 2 things. A, we're introducing ourselves with a name, but also we are confirming that we're a bot, which anybody who's regular on these sessions will know that it's a very bad idea to try and position a bot as a human. That can only lead to negativity. So getting that in early is a positive thing for sure. Now, one thing that we have discussed, again, anybody who's been on any of these clinics before will know that there's always discussion about asking for a name early in the bot. And there are scenarios that we've talked about where it's worthwhile. But in this scenario, I don't think I would do that. So I'm going to put my name in so we can move on, and I can perhaps talk a little bit more about that. And while this message block's loading, one thing that I would say is that I do like some of the contrast with the colors here. Now, I don't know what site this is sitting on because we've got a full page bot here, but I can see some of these colors are taken from the logo here, and they do make it obvious, you know, what is the bot and what isn't, and where buttons are. One thing that we would perhaps say with regards to the text color here is that while I don't think you can ever have a color that's too strong, this could be a little bit softer. So maybe not quite a dark black, maybe a dark grey would work well there. Now, again, we're on the second block. It's nice and short, but we are asking if we've got time for a quick chat. Now, for me, my personal preference would be to remove the initial request for a name. We can do that later if necessary. And I would also remove the question, would you like to have a quick chat, or I'd like to have a quick chat. They're already on the chat, so they're already having a chat. So I don't think we really need to ask that. And what we're doing is we're adding steps before we really get to the content that we want them to be seeing. Now, while it's good that we do have regular interaction points where they can click buttons, etc., I think we want to get to the content on this next block perhaps a little bit sooner.
Can I just,
yeah,
yeah, I was just thinking about the option to, presenting them with an option to have a quick chat. I guess perhaps like you have to think about the context as well, because sometimes, if you're using a bot that's automatically loading, then the visitor hasn't actually expressed intent to have a chat. So in that case, it might be appropriate. But if it's a widget bot that only loads on intent, on click, then yeah, definitely remove that question. And also perhaps in the context of a bot landing page, again, the visitor might have landed on the page not knowing that a conversation is about to take place. They might not have expressed that intent to actually enter into conversation. So perhaps in that context, it is appropriate to ask them if they want a quick chat. But I totally agree that if it's a widget on a site and they've clicked the button to chat, it's probably a redundant question.
Yeah, they're kind of already answering that question by clicking on the widget in the first place. So on this block here, one thing I do like about this is we're using the incentive of a free gift, but we do mention that they're going to get it at the end of the chat. So what we're doing there is incentivizing people to stay to the end of the chat because they're going to get a free gift. So I think that's quite a good use of a free gift. It's not saying click here to get your free gift now and then it might just disappear. It is incentivizing them to stay to the end. So I do like that use of a free gift. And again, we've got a nice GIF in here that's demonstrating exactly what we're saying about giving them a free gift. So I do quite like that.
Yes, that's one of the better ones I've seen, actually.
Yeah, it fits purpose very well, doesn't it? And now you can see here that we are moving on and we're starting to qualify our visitor. So again, I think we could have started doing this a little bit sooner. But anyway, let's just say that we're looking to move on within 6 weeks. So now this is, I mean, I like this. It's short. I think in terms of keeping people's interest in the bot, it does sort of make me feel, okay, they're asking me questions that are suitable for what I'm doing. Also, it's short. And yeah, I mean, it's easy to click on to the next one. So I'm staying engaged with the conversation and we're not having big blocks of text before we get there.
I think as well, it's really important to emphasize, kind of re-emphasize the point that we probably bang on about a lot, is that a lot of visitors to bots tend to be from mobile, and if you've got big chunks of text, it's going to lower the conversation down the mobile screen, and it's going to be quite difficult for the user to constantly keep up with what's going on. They might have to scroll down their mobile, and you have to bear in mind as well that their concentration span's not going to be the same as on desktop. So hence we advise really small chunks of text through the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing I notice here is we've got some slightly different size of text. This text here looks a lot smaller than this text. So keeping that consistent is something that I think is just makes it easier for the eye to read and looks tidier.
Yeah, it can happen if sometimes you're copying and pasting, and it's best to either type it out or just use a plain text document to try and avoid that.
Absolutely. Just one thing on the free gift, I've not got a problem mentioning the free gift, and in some cases, I suppose it's nice to let them know what it is. But in this case, I'd perhaps, and we might have different opinions on this, but I'd perhaps keep it as not actually letting people know what the free gift. So there is that sort of incentive of excitement in terms of what I'm going to get, rather than letting them know. Now, obviously, if it's a situation where the free gift is going to help during the chat, then you do want to let them know. So there are perhaps different ways that you might use that, but it's nice to keep referencing it as that incentive to get people through to the end.
Yeah, sorry, just to add, yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, it could work both ways, because the previous question is asking if they've selected a renovator already. And if they say no, then I think perhaps at that point it is a good idea to actually, give them the massive, reveal the fact that the gift is a renovation guide. But yeah, you could, alternatively, as you say, Simon, you could kind of build up the suspense, and keep them, clicking through the chat and generating those micro conversions, as we call them.
Yeah. So again, yeah, it just depends on usage, but it is nice to see it keep being referenced as that incentive. Now moving on to this block down here, where we've got 6 options here. Now again, this is something that we probably have mentioned in the past, and we probably will mention in the future. And I think some things you're going to hear frequently, because they probably are quite important that we manage these correctly. We've got 6 buttons here. And again, just sort of referencing back to what Imran was mentioning a moment ago about having too much text so that it sort of goes off the screen as you're going through the conversation. Having a lot of buttons is going to push whatever content you had previously up the screen. Now, what it's never a good idea to do is have so many buttons that the content that someone's trying to read is pushed off the screen and they've got to scroll back up. So I would say 6 is the absolute limit. Probably 4 or 5 is better if you can do that, but I appreciate in some situations it might be harder, but I would say 6 is the limit on that.
I think it could do with some, like, as we're progressing through this bot, there's probably not enough visual engagement.
Yeah.
So like 6 options there, it's the perfect opportunity to use cards and use images, just to offer the user something different and keep their engagement. Otherwise, it just looks a bit too samey, and unless they're hyper interested in what you have to offer, you may lose their interest.
Yeah, I mean, I'd also say it can add. It sounds a bit funny, but it can add color. I mean, if we just scroll up and down through this bot content, it is very grey, black, and obviously blue. But you can see just there having a bit of color here just makes it more exciting with a few emojis here that add color. So going too long without an emoji or a GIF or an image can visually make it appear quite dull or boring. Not to say the content is, but just in terms of what people are seeing. Yeah, so I'm going to move on and just pick any of these anyway. One thing I also noticed, and actually that there might be times where you do want to do this. I'm just going to wait for this this message block to finish loading all the messages. I don't know if this is anything that we've ever discussed before, Imran, but I sense with this bot that what's sometimes happening, I can see here, for example, this seems to be its own message block that's linking to another message block. And I don't think we really need to do that. I think you can have all of this content in one message block. And at the end of every message block should be a user response, i.e. an interaction point. I think sometimes the bots can look a little bit messy if you're just linking message blocks for no reason, because you have this little sort of break here. I don't think that's anything we've ever discussed before, Imran, but just a personal preference.
Yeah.
And it can make the blocks longer because it is being pushed down. So again, we can see this example here where some of this content now, I mean, it is an image, but if that was content, it'd be pushed off the page. So I think anything we can do to sort of shorten that is definitely worth doing. But good to see we have got another image in here. So yeah, I mean, I guess this bot is just carrying on qualifying. I mean, we haven't got to the end. There are a lot of sort of options in here. I mean, maybe we could be a little bit more concise in this, because I feel that if I'm going down one of these chat flows, then are we ever going to get to? Do we ever get the chance to come back to the others? So I'm just going to go through, let this message block load. So we're now pushing the free gift.
Yeah, I think while this loads, it's worth adding that this was a really good effort. A custom bot. It's quite a detailed bot. There's a lot of information to pass through. So that's why this made our shortlist, because it's a really good effort, and there's probably just a few tweaks that we're suggesting here. But you know, certainly for a custom build, there's a lot to take in, and it's designed relatively well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, a few small tweaks can make a big difference to overall performance. But I think that the good thing about a bot like this is if you can get people through the bot, you're going to have a lot of good information that you can use when speaking with that customer or potential customer, or knowing how to contact them or how to approach them about what it is they're after. So in terms of qualifying people and collecting data, it does a really good job. It's just ensuring that people do get through each step so you get all of that data. And I can see actually here that we are given the same options that we were given before. So we're not actually going to go down a chat flow that means we can't get back. So that's a good thing. I might perhaps word this slightly differently because we're asking the same question that we were asking here, and we're obviously further down the conversation. So yeah, we can perhaps phrase things slightly differently. But you know, as Imran says, in general, it's a good effort, a custom bot. Certainly lots of positives and lots of good practices used within the content. So I don't know whether we've seen enough of this one now. We want to move on to the next one, which is the winner this week. Are you happy to do that?
Yeah, definitely. Just one point to add on this, like the alternative to something like this is, you know, traditionally a discovery form. And with all the information that's being collected, that's a heck of a long form to fill out, you know, an incredibly boring experience. So just with a few tweaks, I think this bot could easily outperform a discovery form. And, you know, it's just obviously you want the user information, you know, you want to generate that lead. And you just have to have a rethink about how far into the chat you want to go and how much information you want to collect before you actually get that lead and you know, give them the guide, because this is stretching on quite a while, and that's fine if you want to get as much information as you need, sorry. But you know, what we've tested often is shorter bots often achieve the purpose and generate the lead and generate enough information for us to kind of follow through.
Yeah, and just on that point, I think this little passage of text is quite a good example. We're starting to not just get data from them, but we're starting to actually educate them in terms of, you know, things that your budget should take into consideration. I would leave education like this for the renovation guide. Sorry if I can get that out. I don't think we want to spend too much time in the bot adding content that's educating people. We're already going to do that later on in the free gift. So you could cut down a lot of content there. I mean, a little bit's fine, but yeah, just something to think about. So anyway, yeah. Good effort there. And we're going to have a look now at the winning bot this week. So I'm just going to bring that up now and refresh the page.
Yeah, so this bot, we kind of wanted to briefly discuss it because I appreciate it's not in English, and it's going to be difficult to follow for, you know, a lot of people on the call. The reason we really like this bot is we did go through the bot and run the content through a translator to work out, you know, what exactly is being offered. But you know, just to keep this relatively short, the main reason we went for this bot is I think it's a fantastic example of a bot landing page or a full page bot. You know, the background image fits in really well. It's subtle, you know, it's not too in your face. There's a nice contrast as well. Sorry, Simon, if you just progress through the chat, we'll see the buttons shortly as well. So as you can see, you know, we often use bot landing pages like this where the button contrasts really nicely with the background, and obviously using the theme in the logo there, where, you know, you can see orange in the logo, and we just really liked the way this was structured. You know, it was concise. There aren't like long passages of text. You know, the buttons very good for usability. The only 2 points really that we had for this were, firstly, we'd recommend trying a white background for the chat block, just because the gray background kind of blends in a little bit too much, we feel, with the background. I think with a white background it might contrast slightly better. And just another thing we noticed was that you know, SSL wasn't installed. I don't know if this bot is, you know, currently active in generating leads, but whenever we're using a bot landing page, you know, we always install SSL just to give people that extra feeling of security. But yeah, look, we're not going to dive into this too much just because of the language issue for a lot of people. We just liked it from an aesthetic point of view, and having kind of really, dug deep into the structure, we think this is going to be a really effective bot. So brilliant. Yeah, so I think this person's won 300,000 bot conversations. Congratulations. We're going to be following up after the call.
Yeah, I'll be adding those as soon as we're done. So you should see them in your account very, very soon. So great. So guys, that's all of this week's bot review. We also wanted to move on and talk a little bit about some sales strategies. Imran, I think you're going to discuss a little bit about a strategy that we wanted to share with everybody. So yeah, please feel free.
Yeah, so this strategy isn't currently in the members area because it's relatively new and something we've been testing. So what we've been doing is we've tried to differentiate between customers or clients who are marketing savvy and those who aren't, because often with those who aren't savvy, chances are they probably have a website that's perhaps not got that much traffic running to it. And they have no idea what a bot is. They have very basic knowledge of marketing principles. They may be using an agency, they may not, and that's fine. In certain circumstances, those customers can go on to become very, very valuable. But what we've just been focusing on recently is kind of more laser focused. Really, we've been looking on Google Ads and Facebook ads for businesses that are more savvy. So for example, local businesses, chances are if they're advertising on Google or Facebook, whether they're using an agency or doing it in-house, they're most likely getting reasonable traffic to their site. In some cases, a lot of traffic to their site. And there we know that, in our circles, even experienced marketers have no idea what a bot is. Like this bot you see on page right now, a conversational landing page. You mentioned this to guys who've done millions online, and it's probably the first time they've seen it. So we know that these companies, these businesses that are actually advertising on Google and Facebook, even if they are already marketing savvy, chances are they probably don't know what a bot is. And so that's where we can kind of come in, and where we really focus on is, we know they're getting traffic, but what they may or may not be aware of is just how much mobile traffic they're getting. Because we run Facebook ads, we run Google ads, and we see roughly 70% of our traffic is mobile. I know we've mentioned this in previous clinics, but I think it's a point worth hammering that, when we started out online, many years ago, it was 30% traffic was from mobile, maybe 70% from desktop, and now it's the other way around. So the angle that we use to kind of hook people into the concept of bots is basically we talk about the likelihood that their mobile conversions are probably very low, because we know that even the most savvy businesses are probably using website builders for mobile, or even if they're building the pages in-house using custom HTML, it's very difficult to optimize a landing page for mobile and still maintain the same number of conversions that the desktop version generates, for a variety of reasons, really, because pages, mobile pages were never really built for mobile websites. You have apps which are built for mobile, but a lot of businesses don't have apps. And even with apps as well, what we find is that you're really relying on your visitors having a strong connection. I use apps all the time that, if I'm in an area which doesn't have a great connection, it's incredibly slow and a frustrating experience. So from our experience, we know that bots can make a massive difference on mobile. We just find that people naturally, intuitively click on bots on mobile pages to start a conversation. So our hook is that we go in quite aggressive with a claim. We back it up with, well, I'll come to that in a second, but we go in with a claim that we'll effectively double their mobile conversions in the next 30 days through using a bot. And obviously when people hear that claim, they think, yeah, that's quite a bold claim. And by just focusing on mobile, we're kind of reducing the risk for them, because there might be some resistance to putting the bot on their main kind of desktop version of the site, because traditionally I think people still think that, their main site is their desktop version. That's where they get most of their traffic. A lot of businesses aren't really aware of that. Whereas actually, anyone who's clued up with SEO or even paid ads knows that most of your traffic these days for many businesses goes to mobile, and the speed of your landing, the loading speed of your landing page is absolutely critical, whether it's SEO or paid ads. I mean, whenever we're building a landing page for whether it's desktop or mobile, one of the key things that we work on is optimizing the page load speed, because we know on paid ads, we're going to be penalized if the page is slow, and our ad costs are going to rise. So that's one of the reasons as well that, conversions on mobile tend to be a lot lower than desktop. So what we typically do is offer a free 30-day trial, and that way there's no real risk on their part. If they're quite savvy and they've set up Google Analytics on their site, we request access to analytics so we can see exactly how many conversions they're getting from mobile, what their traffic distribution is between mobile and desktop. And then, we set up a bot. As you know, we've got so many templates, we can easily customize them for a business. Let's say, for example, we're focusing on a local business here. And then, we very simple way is just to add them on email notifications. So each time, let's say the landing page is focused on generating leads. Each time a lead's generated, they get an email saying our bots, generated them a lead. And what we find is that after 30 days, they can see the value of the bot on their mobile version. They can see how many leads it's brought in, how many sales it's brought in, if it's being used for sales. And then, we just have a stronger negotiating point after 30 days on pricing, because they've already seen the value, and that's where we can talk about a monthly retainer. Whereas, it's fine also to charge up front and use that model, and that still works well as well. But I think in the kind of post-pandemic world, a lot of businesses, they're coming out in many countries, they're coming out of lockdown, and they're a bit more cautious at this stage, we're finding. So offering them that free trial and really focusing on mobile just tends to hook them in, and it just makes the job slightly easier for us. And ultimately, I probably talked about generating leads in this example, but we have clients who use bots to sell $1,000 products, and they see the value of bots. I mean, we had a client a couple of months back that actually within the first 2 or 3 days generated a high ticket sale that was worth at least $1,000 from the bot. So we're confident that our bot can make a massive difference to their site, but we've got to convince them of the value. And that's why we're kind of targeting people who are already advertising on Google and Facebook, because the chances are they're probably going to be more marketing savvy. They're probably going to have analytics set up, and we can probably illustrate, the difference that that bots make to their conversions. And then once they're sold, we can get the bot on all of the sites. We can start talking about using bot landing pages. And that was the second part of the strategy that I wanted to discuss. As I touched on earlier, a bot like you see on the page, a bot landing page, even, the biggest names, some of the biggest names in the industry aren't aware of this. So when we go to any business and they see this, they probably think this is quite weird. It's a conversational landing page. It's really interactive. Like, I've never seen this before. So it kind of gets their attention. But, most people see the value of the interaction. They see the fact that, on a bot landing page, the person's very much focused on the conversation and has to progress through the conversation by interacting with the bot. There are no other distractions. And specifically for kind of generating leads, like we run ad campaigns. We just launched a new campaign on Google earlier this week, where we haven't even bothered building a traditional landing page, with a video and a form. All we're using is a bot landing page, and we're getting fantastic kind of conversions and cost per leads as well, because it's just tried and tested for us. So again, like looking at businesses that advertise on Facebook and Google and actually use the traditional landing pages, our hook there is to kind of come in and sell the bot landing page. And again, make quite an aggressive claim, one that we're quite confident that we can back up, that we can literally double your conversions, double the number of leads that you're getting. Now, for a business that's actively spending on Google or Facebook, that can make a massive, massive difference. Because we've set up campaigns on YouTube in the past where we've literally seen a bot landing page bring in leads on certain keywords for about $2, whereas the same landing page with a video with Simon, Simon's like the face of our brand. He adds a lot of value, but video with Simon, a form, hasn't performed well. It's just an automated conversation. So again, we're confident that we can back that up, and often that's the hook that gets people in, that aggressive claim, and also the fact that this is quite new. And look, if they're kind of wary, they're resisting to the idea, we just talk about mobile, so that we're just testing it on one part of their overall sales funnel. And then we've got enough experience, enough knowledge of how effectively bots work to know that we can make a massive difference in 30 days. So yeah, that was the gist of the strategy. I believe we're going to be working on new training videos around this, and also providing kind of done for you messages that people can use to send out using this hook. But we wanted to announce it on this particular workshop just because it's something relatively new, and it's a bit more targeted to what we've been using in the training so far.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, I think the other thing about that is if you're, I mean, on a very basic level, if you're targeting people who are running active paid advertising, then they're going to have traffic on their site that can go through the bot. There is a danger. I've had some people in the past who love the idea of a bot, but they don't have much traffic on their site, and therefore it's hard to monitor performance of the bot in terms of producing too many leads, because they just don't have the traffic there to produce a lead. So yeah, fantastic, and that will be coming very soon.
Yeah, just one thing to add there as well, like you might often just go onto Google and see who's ranked in the top 10 on Google, which is also perfectly fine as well. The reason we kind of focus on companies that are actually advertising is that people who focus more on ads kind of have, not always the case, but often the case, particularly if they're relatively new, they know they can allocate a budget over the next 30 days, work out their cost per lead. And it's a lot more granular, whereas with SEO it's often quite dynamic. Sometimes you don't know how the next 30 days will pan out, whether any changes or fluctuations, whereas with ads at a certain level it gets quite predictable. So if you have quite a predictable model in place, introducing a new conversion element into the mix, you can easily measure the impact of that in a 30-day time frame. Whereas sometimes with SEO, we're by no means experts on SEO ourselves. We focus more on paid ads in-house. But my understanding is sometimes with SEO, it can be more difficult to measure that unless you're, really well established. But yeah, it's just a thought. Anyway, it could work perfectly fine as well with, the top brand companies on Google.
Yeah, I think the other thing with paid ads is that people are under more pressure to get a good return on their investment. So anything that can help them increase conversions is going to be something they're going to seriously look at or try or test. And I think testing is another thing that people who do paid ads are more likely to try. So even if they're not completely sold on the idea, they might say, well, let's do an A/B split test and see if the bot page is going to perform better than the not bot page, and we'll just see. So I think they're more open to things, and they're certainly under more pressure to see a return on their ad investment. So
yeah. Sorry, yeah, no, that's a really good point. Often you get people who are more into SEO, their first question will be, how much slower will this make my site? Even though the impact is very, very minimal, and it's far outweighed by the fact that the bot helps people to stay longer on the page, gets them into conversation. That's an important factor that Google takes into account. But often, people will be coming at it from a different angle if their main focus is actually SEO. So hence, we've just been focusing more on companies that do paid ads, but SEO, targeting those companies on Google is perfectly fine as well.
Yeah. I don't think there's any right or wrong really. I mean, if they've got good traffic and you can help increase conversions, then it's going to be beneficial.
Fantastic. Yeah, and do both. If you've got the time, ultimately, we're sending out messages that only need tweaking really, and the idea is just to hook a few companies in and get them into a conversation and let the bot do all the work. And as you know, we've got a feature that allows you to actually add the bot to their site, so they can see a demo without having to add any code or anything to their site, which reduces friction massively. So compared to other services that we've offered over the years, there's a lot less friction with this.
Yeah.
Hi guys, just waiting for Simon to come back on there. But while we're waiting, I just thought we'd pick out some questions. Oh, hi Simon.
Hi guys. Yeah, I've just been going through some questions as well myself. I don't know whether you want me to take one while you're having a look through.
Yeah, sure.
I've got one actually, which is one that I do get asked a lot, and there's a number of ways to do this. But Josh asks that what is the best way to know where people who are interacting with the bot are dropping out of the conversation? Now, there's a number of ways that you can do this, Josh. One thing that I like to do for all my bots, because it's just very easy to see visually how the bot is performing, and that is send all of the data that my bot collects to a Google Sheet. The reason I do that is because each row will be a new entry, i.e. a new user, and each column along is each block they get to where they have to either enter some data or press a button. Now, the reason that's good, let's say there's 10 interaction points where the end user has to either enter some data or press a button. That means there's going to be 10 columns of data that you get for each bot user. Now, if for example, there's a problem in your bot where block 5 is there's something wrong with block 5 that's stopping people from moving on, then you can just look at that Google Sheet and you'll see loads of data up until block 5, and then you'll see no data after block 5. So that is a visual representation where you can see literally within seconds of looking at the sheet where there might be a problem in your bot. And what you can then do is go and have a look at the block where people aren't progressing past and see, is it too much text? Do I need to put some GIFs or images in? Perhaps I'm asking for some information too soon that I could rearrange my bot and ask for that further on down the line. So it's just making a small tweak to try and get people to move on to the next block, and then you'll find they might fill out the next 5. So I find Google Sheets is a very, very clear visual representation of how my bots are performing. But of course, there's lots of different ways you can look at the data.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to add, if anyone's unaware, we do have a native integration with Google Sheets. I believe there may be a training video coming out on that soon, but it's very intuitive. But if you're not aware of that, just email us and we'll add that to your account, but hopefully it should already be there. And also, I think it's a good point at which to remind anyone who's new to our service that often what we find is that new customers sometimes forget to actually add goals to their bot. So they have a look at analytics and don't see any data coming through. It's one of the most important steps if you're new to the service is to set up goals for your bots. And what I always like to do is add my email onto email notifications so that even if I'm not logged in, I'm getting email notifications telling me exactly how far someone's got into the bot. So I know that it's working okay. And also it's an easy way as well, just in case something goes wrong, which, it shouldn't. But now and again, you have slight issues. If the email notifications stop, I can kind of look into the bot and see potentially if there was a problem. But really, in theory, it should be extremely smooth.
Yeah, and just everybody now who's been asking if there are training videos on setting up Google Sheets, they will be coming. So yeah, do keep an eye out for that. But it's pretty intuitive, like Imran says, so you should be able to find your way through. It works much like all of our other integrations do.
Yeah, just following up on that question from Josh he's asking whether the goals and the goal notifications are linked. Yeah, very much so. You select the goals that you want your visitor to get into the bot, like how far you want them to get into the bot. That will then display in analytics, and that's where you can also send notifications to the email that you add to the bot. So yeah, very much they're linked. Just slightly different topic, but going back to selling chatbots as a service, I saw an interesting question here about when to actually quote the client, whether before or after the 30 days. So really by the 3-week mark, I think by that point, there should have been enough data for you to kind of have that conversation with the client, to really assess the uplift in conversions. And what you want to do, and I'm sure what the client will want to do, is kind of ensure continuity of service beyond the 30 days. Because look, if you're new to selling bots as a service, it's as simple as clicking a button to actually switch off the bot on their website. So if you have that conversation after 3 weeks, I think that gives a week to discuss pricing and come to a suitable arrangement.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a very quick one. Rian, is that how you pronounce your name? You ask if it's good to see businesses face to face or just focus online. There's no right or wrong with that. You don't need to see people face to face. I've done all my work online. I've sold a lot to America, for example, and I'm based here in the UK. So there's no need to see people face to face. But obviously, if that's something you're comfortable with and you've got experience doing, there's no reason not to. So yeah, there's no right or wrong to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Good question here from Ethan. He's asking about case study videos, something that shows the whole process of selling bots from start to finish. So what we're keen to do, guys, is actually get, some of you on a call, perhaps, record an interview with you and actually go through the processes that you went through to actually sell bots as a service. So we'll be sending emails out about that, but we'd love to interview people and see how they're getting on. We get lots of messages and emails from people who, are selling bots and doing extremely well with it, but, we'd like to feature people on our site. And of course, we'll definitely be handing out prizes and stuff to really thank you for your time. So yeah, that's something we're working on. And I think it'll be really useful for other members to learn from.
Absolutely.
Jonathan,
so yeah, do send anybody who is interested in doing an interview, please email me, and I'm quite happy to join you on a call and go through that. Just a very quick one here. I know we've kind of covered this, but Paul says he missed the early part of the webinar, but he was asking about, is there a way to email clients when a bot has completed their details? Yep, that's an email notification we've just been talking about. You can go into the bot settings and do that. So that can be set up very quickly, Paul. I just want to just very quickly, Imran, this is one that we're going to get every week, but I do sort of feel that I should answer it because it is one of the most popular questions we get. Nicole Graham has said that she's purchased the agency feature over the weekend. What pricing do we recommend for bots? So there's no sort of answer that I can give on a call like this for that, other than to say in our advanced training section, there's a section for selling chatbots. And in there, there's a category dedicated to pricing bots, where I think I have 4 or 5 different videos that talk through different options for pricing, how I find out the pricing, how I work out the pricing, how I work out the value to the client. Watch those, and you're going to get lots of information. And what that's going to do is you're going to then have some questions that you want to ask based on those videos. And it's much better to then email me, and I can get back to you on that with any specifics you've got. But the videos will give you the basis of the way I do it.
Yeah, and following on from that theme, actually, I see a question here from Amy who needs to put a bot on someone's site. And I think she's struggling to find exactly where that is in the training. I think the best thing would just be to email in and we can point you to exactly where that is. It's a really powerful feature. Again, I just wanted to reiterate for anyone who, perhaps didn't quite hear that earlier or isn't aware of that, we have this feature that allows you to add a bot to almost any site without actually accessing the back end. And where we find that useful is 2 particular purposes. Firstly, when you're kind of trying to sell a bot to a client, you're demoing the bot, how it looks on their site, without having to fiddle around in their back end and get them to agree to add some custom code. Secondly, is also affiliate marketing. If you're an affiliate marketer and you're looking for products to promote, you don't have access to the sales pages, you can use our feature to actually put a bot on someone's sales page without having access to their back end. And it's a hugely, like, for me, you know, I've been an affiliate marketer for many years. It's a feature that we were really keen on because it just differentiates you as an affiliate from all the others that are sending traffic to that sales page. Because particularly, you know, going back to it on mobile, you should see a huge difference there. So again, there's training on that. If you can't find it, just please email in and we'll point you in the right direction.
Yep. Any questions you've got, email in and we can help. That is for sure. I see a few people asking about Groove funnels. It's very easy to install bots on Groove funnel pages if you've got them. So you shouldn't have any problems there. You can follow the same publishing chatbot training that we offer, and it's just a question of knowing where to paste the code in.
Yeah, Rihan's actually asking about an integration with their native email marketing tool. That we are keen on actually expanding our integrations with Groove. From what I understand, they haven't made API access available yet, but that is on our list of features. And you know, guys, if you do have suggestions or needs for integrations with email autoresponders, just send them in. You know, we're happy to have a look at where the demand is and work accordingly. So yeah, just contact us about that.
Yeah. I can see, let's have a look what else we've got. A lot of people saying thank you. Liam, we don't have that at the moment, but please do email us like Imran just mentioned, and we can have a look at that for you.
Yeah, so I think, guys, because we've been covering questions whilst the video was playing, it doesn't look like there are many new questions coming in at the moment. There is a technical one here from Paul about the bot picking up time zone. That's a bit of a technical question. So, you know, if it's a technical one, please do email in and we're happy to help, because usually we'll need some assistance from the developers with things like that. But yeah, integration suggestion here from Scott. Again, please send it through. We're happy to take a look at it. We have regular meetings where, you know, we discuss feature suggestions and then work out a schedule. And also, guys, just while we've got you, it'd be really good to get your feedback on these clinics, really, and these workshops, and how you feel, you know, how you feel they're going, and whether there's certain things that you'd like us to feature. Certainly a great suggestion earlier about, you know, getting people in talking about their experience with selling bots as a service. But any feedback on how you find these sessions and what you'd like to be covered, you know, please do send it in.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing to stop us doing little workshops on specific things, and if you guys find that helpful, so yeah, do keep them coming, and we will. No problems, Stephen. He says the session was hugely helpful. So yeah, guys, do keep any questions coming in. I think, as Imran says, we've covered quite a lot. So if we are short of any further questions, then I guess we may as well end today's clinic.
I can see one from Matthew here is talking about kind of using WhatsApp and also Facebook. So basically, we've been working on WhatsApp for a while. There were a few niggling issues, which meant it had to go back to the development team. But as we speak, really, I think Simon's been wheeling away in his laboratory and working on some WhatsApp training videos. We're going to have a really in-depth guide, step by step, on the value of WhatsApp marketing. It's still like it's so new that even established marketers were absolutely clueless about it. So certainly, like, once that's live, WhatsApp in conjunction with Facebook and also website bots, and in future we've already started the process. We're working on Telegram bots as well. It is a whole new level of kind of selling bots as a multi-channel service, because then ultimately what you are is, you're a multi-channel communication marketing tool for all of these clients that you're trying to prospect, or even using them on your own sites or business page or WhatsApp business account. So yeah, we're going to have really detailed training on that. Everything's there, it's set up. We just had to go take a step back slightly, and everything hopefully should be released this month. That's what we're gearing for. And also, guys, just while we're on the call as well, I wanted to add that there are a long list of 20 features as well that have all passed beta. We're going to be doing a separate video on those. We'll probably do a clinic on those as well, just to kind of illustrate the value of these new features. So I know a few people have actually been emailing in about it, but we do have quite a stringent beta testing process. We don't like to release stuff too early, just in case there are bugs that we didn't find. So please bear with us, please be patient, and you'll see that things will be extremely different over the next few weeks.
Yeah, just a very, I'm just going to touch on this. I don't want to go into too much detail, but I know it is something that a lot of people will be thinking. And Valerie here asked, what are the first 5 things to do once you have the agency? So Valerie, in my opinion, the first 5 things to do is, 1, is watch as much basic training videos as possible. The reason that you want to do that is to get a good feel for how you can edit our bot templates and use our bot builder. It gives you just a good basic understanding of bots. Step 2, I would watch our selling chatbots training videos. This covers the whole method of finding clients, pricing and all that kind of stuff. So it gives you a good background of how you're going to do it. And then following on from there, you need to start targeting clients. So it's like make a list, pick an industry, then make a list, and then finally step 5 would be the closed sales part. And again, that will make sense to you if you've watched the training video. So if I was to break it down into 5 parts, they would be my 5 parts. But of course, within those, there are different things that you need to do. But really, starting with the training videos is the most important thing, because they will really give you a good base knowledge and a base understanding about not only just bots, but how you can go about finding clients and what your different options are and pricing and all these kind of things, which at the moment will seem so far away from you in terms of knowledge, because you're fresh to it all. But actually, it's not very complicated. It's just a question of going through the processes and just learning what we're showing, and that's going to give you your own ideas as well. You've got experiences that perhaps I've not lived in my working life, and you can think about ways that you can tweak what I'm suggesting, or you find your own path. But without watching those videos, you're gonna feel like you've got not the correct knowledge level.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a couple of questions here. Firstly, one from Rob Bishop. He's referring back to a previous clinic in which we mentioned we're building a new website builder for the agency service. Yeah, that's almost finished, actually. I think it's been heavily worked on over the last few weeks, and we just need to test that again. Hopefully it shouldn't take too long. But yeah, that's going to be really exciting. We can't wait to show that to people. And there's another question here just relating to webinars about selling bots as a service. So what we do really is these clinics contain like a mixture of questions on selling bots as a service. And also just using bots on your own site. So we like to kind of combine the two things, and then we'll send out replays so that everyone has access. Although this specific one was just sent out to a relatively exclusive list, but generally when we do go forward, like we will invite everyone to our clinics, discuss selling bots as a service. And so if you've got any questions, please do come along. And then strategies we discuss, like if you see the training in the members area, it's very detailed. There are lots and lots of training videos on how to sell bots as a service, and lots of ideas there. And when we actually talk about something new, like we did earlier today, we'll get some new training videos out, new messages, and we'll constantly be updating and evolving our templates and videos just in line with the services that we're offering. Because obviously, WhatsApp and Facebook obviously has been there for a while, but WhatsApp and then the Telegram integration that's coming soon as well. It requires a different approach to then sell that as an all-round package.
Yeah.
Another quick question about using Facebook on your website to initiate a Facebook chat. Sorry, I missed the question, but someone mentioned they couldn't find the button. I think it was Anders, actually. Yeah, it's very simple to actually add a Facebook widget to your site. So that will initiate the conversation in Messenger. If you're having any issues with that, just email in and we'll help out.
Just a couple of very quick ones to reel off. Rian, if that is how you pronounce your name. Hunter.io, it's good to know that you're someone who's definitely watched the training videos. I don't know of another site. I've used that site to basically scrape contact details. So I would still use that. I mean, I can have a look at it. Do email me with any sort of questions about that, and I'm more than happy to have a look at it and get back to you. Nicole, you will be able to do edit colors and stuff on the new website builder, so you'll have a bit more flexibility there.
Yeah. Question here from Stephen. He's asking whether it's possible to upload an ebook or a PDF and then offer a download to it at the end of the bot. So for example, within a full page bot, or you could even do that within a widget bot. That's very much possible, and it's a great use case for a bot as well. You know, you take them through the conversation, you know, you get all the information that you need, and at the end you give them that download link. Absolutely great use case.
You can either do that, by the way, you can insert a download link into a button, or you can put it in there as a text link. So you can choose how you want to deliver that. I did see something that I wanted to. Robert asked messenger bots as a service. So yeah, any bots that we offer, you can sell as a service, Robert. There's no problems there.
Yep, and a question from Kevin. He's asking about, you know, being able to upload popular questions and answers into the bot. So yeah, that feature has also been worked on. It's going through beta testing. It did go back again because it was a relatively complex integration with Google Dialogflow. And once the WhatsApp and the WhatsApp and the human handover training are released this month, that will be the next feature that we're really focused training on. I think it's scheduled for June, when we really kind of dig deep into that and release some training videos on it.
Yeah. Just a very quick one, Michael. To change bot message bubble colors, when you're in the bot builders, go to the design tab, and you can edit all sorts of stuff in there to do with the design. I'm just scrolling back through to see if there's anything that I've missed. We are now 3 minutes to 6.
Yes. Quick question here about bot clinic videos being available through a link. So basically, we do upload them to the members area as well. So you should see them in the bonus training section in the members area. We do upload them to our YouTube channel as well. We're not that. We don't use YouTube that often, to be honest. It's just mainly for ease of use for some people who prefer using YouTube. But talking about YouTube, actually, it's probably a good way to kind of segue into the training that we've got next week. We're bringing a YouTube expert on next week who's kind of a really highly sought after speaker. We've actually been talking to him for months, and he's got something that's really crazy. Actually, when you first hear it, you don't like. As someone, you know, personally, I've not actually ranked YouTube videos myself, but we know there's a lot of interest in YouTube in our community. What he's going to do on next week's session is he's going to actually pick someone out live on the call and get them ranked on YouTube page 1 within the session. He's got an absolutely crazy method, so we're going to be inviting people to that probably early next week. So yeah, that's definitely one to attend, particularly if you're already active on YouTube, or you know, if you've considered YouTube, because as you know, these days, if you're ranked highly on YouTube, you've also got a good chance of being ranked on the first page of Google as well.
Yeah, so I think, guys, that's a nice sort of way to end this week's clinic. I can see there are a few questions still coming in, but guys, please do email me on simon@converterbot.com. I can see like John Reed, for example. If you've got any trouble finding anything that you need, please do email me. I'm glad you're excited. I'm more than happy to help you find everything that you need. So yeah, guys, if we've missed anybody, I'm sorry. There obviously has to be a time limit. So please do email me, and I'll get back to you regarding any questions you may have. Just a very quick one for Lark. Any future clinics, we always send an email. So the way that you find out about these is to check your emails. If you haven't whitelisted our email address, make sure you have, because it may well be that your emails or our emails to you are ending up in your junk folder rather than your inbox. So just check that. Yeah, then you'll be able to see the invites.
Yeah, we do occasionally. We do try and put them up on our Facebook page as well. So if you're following us on Facebook, you should see our posts there.
Great. Well, thanks again, guys. Thanks for joining us today, Imran. Yeah, we'll be back. We'll let you know as soon as possible with regards to when the next session is. And if you've got any suggestions, like Imran mentioned earlier on, please do email me in, and we will consider them. And yeah, look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
Cheers, guys. Take care.